Okay, so this can be done in a number of different ways. I'm going to talk you through the examples one, just so that you've got an idea of how they've done it. So obviously you start with a start. After your start, they want you to input number as a process. We're then going to have a variable called max for maximum. I'm going to set max to num. Now, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, this is absolutely perfect so far. So what we're doing is, we've got a variable called max, which is going to be the highest number we've got. So if I was to enter in 100 here, max would become 100. And that'll be our biggest number. Then any other number has to beat 100 to become the maximum number, the highest number. If I was to enter in 1 on the first time it loops, max will become 1. Then every other number has to become bigger than max. It's genius. I'm now going to create another variable. And I'm going to set total to num. If you think it through, the way this is going to work is we're going to output an average. By outputting an average, we need to work out a total. To work out a total, I'm first of all entering our first number and adding it to our total. So if I enter in 9, our total is now 9. But none of this is going to be looped. Now, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to make another variable and I'm going to make it count. And that's going to start on 2 because we've already done one number here. That'll be 1. Actually, it'll be this as well. All of this is 1. Fine. So, what's the next thing? Well, we want to check and I'm going to check whether or not is count equal to, and this is saying, well, is the count, we'll do is count equal to 51. We'll look at that near the end, but I'm hoping you're going to see why it's 51 and not 50. It's all about just a bit of basic logic. If it is 51, we're going to end. So I'm going to do yes, end. Otherwise, if it's not 51, we're going to then input number. Did I get the right price box up there? No, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry, this should be a parallelogram. Input number. So input number, set max to num, set total to num, set count to 2. So what this does, as I said, you enter your first number, it makes it the largest number possible, because it is, there's no other numbers, so of course it is. We add it to our total, and now we're entering our second number, so count becomes 2. If we haven't got 51 numbers, well, count isn't 51, shall I say, input a number, and what we're going to do is I'm going to set total to total plus num. So we're adding this new number to our total. So if I type in 5 and I had 9 before, our total will be 14. The next thing we would like to do is check to see whether or not this new number is bigger than our maximum number. So I'm going to do an if. Is num bigger than max? We've then got a no, it's not bigger, and then we've got a yes. So let me just go down even further. It is bigger. This variable max, as you can see, is absolutely vital because we're using it in our comparisons. So if number is bigger than max, then that obviously will become our new maximum number. So set max to none. So number becomes max. Yes, you can use arrow like that. That's fine. Point being is maximum is now this new number, but if it isn't, what we're going to do is we're now going to go right back. And we're going to loop. I'm going to loop right back to here, but before we do, I'm going to increment count. So this bit is perfect. Every time you enter in a number, it checks the CIE, first of all. Well, actually, first of all, it adds it to the total. It then checks to see if it's bigger than the last maximum number. If it is, this becomes the new maximum. It's like the new champion. If it isn't, it doesn't become the champion, the maximum. We just move on. Now, when we get to... This is why this is going to be 51, because let's imagine that we're on our 50th number. So count is 50. The 50th number. Is count 51? No, it's not. So we get to enter in our 50th number. We then increment count, so count becomes 51. But it never gets a chance to do 51 because it stops. There's other ways you can do this. You can say, is count greater than 50? And if it is greater than 50, end. Anyhow, let's do the bit now where we've got the end. So let's finish this off. What we're going to do is we're going to work out the average. To work out the average, we're going to set the average variable. And our formula is going to be, we get our total. And we're going to take away max because, well, actually we'll look at that in a second. And divide by 49 because, why 49? Well, the question says, output the average of the values apart from the largest value. So max, it doesn't want max included. So if I've got 8, 11, 16, 100, and it says let's work out the average, it'll take this number, and this number, but it doesn't take this number. In order for us to do that then, we have our total, which will be 116, 127, 135 as our total. And then let's take away the max number. That leaves us with 35. And then we work out our average by dividing it by the amount of numbers, but 100 isn't involved anymore. So we've really got 1 number, 2 number, 3 number, and that'll give us our average. So which is why we've really got 49 numbers we're using in our average. We're using 49 in our average because we've taken out the max number. Then we just simply get an output, which is not this box, it's this box. And then end. And that is the end of this flowchart. It'll be interesting for you to see compared to how you've done it. So start, input number, set max to number, set it to number, set count to 2, makes sense, right? There are other ways you can do this, don't get me wrong. This is just the example's way of doing it, which does make sense. If it's less, if it's is count equal to 51, if it is, we end it by working out the average by taking total, take away max, divide by 49, and then output our two variables. And if it's not, we input the number, we set the total to go up, we then check to see if it's the new max. If it's a new max, great. Oops, a daisy, that also needs to be part of this. So we change max. If we don't need to change max, we simply just increment count. If we do need to change max, we do this, and then we increment count.